A big aspect of sexual integration is how sustainable are these connections that you're having with women, right? The reason why I emphasize sexual integration in the biology first approach, a big aspect of that is that, let's say you use game to manipulate a woman to deal with you. After, once you do that, let's say you only deal with the woman by getting her into a scarcity mindset. Let's say you're using validation or loops, right? Let's say, the way you interact with a woman is you're just elevating the price of or the value of the validation that you give her in her mind by not giving it to her. That can work. Get her hand caught right in that cookie jar. She'll be right up under you. But this is the issue that only lasts for so long. See, I'm going to touch on the gigolo aspect of the gentleman gigolo complex and how men fall into this category. It is possible for a woman to use you for sex. But another aspect of that is it is also possible for a woman to deal with you in a sexual relationship only because she doesn't see it going anywhere else. Or for a woman to use you as a placeholder. Where part of the reason she doesn't desire to be truly feminine and submissive with you is because she just sees you as a for the time being type of guy, the type of guy to where she feels like because she knows you have certain traits that she can't get with, that when she finally gets bored with you, that she won't have to feel like the bad person for ending the relationship, right? So when we're talking about this whole archetype and mindset of the gigolo, one thing that I've noticed a lot of is, let's say we're talking about the game, let's say we're talking about people who are players and then they got older. One thing I've noticed a lot of is there are many men who could fit into the intellectual or the physical or sexual category of being an alpha male, but in that process they go the blue pill route for a relationship, and then after they go the blue pill route for a relationship, they eventually get hurt. After they get hurt, then you go on a rampage of dealing with a whole bunch of women. And because you don't see those women as women of value, or because you don't see them as relationship material, you'll deal with women who have bad mental health, who are not really sane, who aren't up to the level of the attractiveness you would need for a relationship, maybe have different religions, of things that would just disqualify them from being long-term partners. And there's nothing wrong with that when that's what you're on. And I believe being upfront about how it is you're moving and all that stuff. But when you get to a certain point, just sex is not really enough for you anymore as a man. In a lot of instances, you want to build something, you want to do something, or maybe you like relationships, or you can have fun out here, and that's true. But let's say you meet a woman who comes across your path, and you're like, you know what, I like this dynamic. I like when I have a woman who is learning from me, who's feminine, submissive with me, getting on my program, and who's learning things from me, and who's actually taking the things I'm learning and being teachable with those things, but then also using the things I teach her to add value back into my life, who's reciprocating with me. That's a good thing. What a lot of guys do is they find themselves in a situation where they're just going through a whole phase. They're spending some time being a player, and some men are going to be a perpetual bachelor, right? Now, one thing I've noticed is I know plenty of men who've had game, they've had plenty of women, had sugar mamas, had, you know, older women when they were young, or had, all kinds of experiences, threesomes, group sex, it doesn't matter, but, celebrities. I know men who have these experiences, but at the same time that they've had these experiences, most of the men I know who've had these experiences, if they don't lock down a woman by a certain time, then a lot of times they start getting really set into their ways. But they haven't developed their game and their program to be something that's sustainable for a long-term relationship. So they're set in their ways of being a perpetual bachelor. And when you get to that certain state, it's difficult to manage a relationship, or you kind of not hit the wall as far as your desirability, but you kind of become like a woman. Well, I mean, you may have money and maybe young girls who want to fuck with you, but you kind of become like an older woman, right? Who hits the wall. It's not as bad as the wall, not even close to as bad as the wall, because you can still get a younger woman and have a relationship with her. But if you want a woman who's on your intellectual level, who's, a little bit closer to your age, but still attractive, but doesn't have too many kids and doesn't have STDs, and it's like she's not batshit crazy, and you want a woman who's actually near your age, then you're gonna be in kind of a bad spot because the options are gonna be dwindled down. I mean, that's just true. A lot of guys in that position, they end up being in that relationship position where they may be 40 something, 50 something, pushing 60, and they're at the point where they probably would have wished that they had a wife there to be there with them, some companionship. And the sex starts to get a little bit old, right? I mean, it's still fun, don't get me wrong, but it starts to get old. And then you really wish, you know what, I wish I would have been able to spend this time with a woman, building a family, having a stable, solid structure for my children. I wish I would have took this time when I was younger, when I was out there hot in the ass. I wish I would have took this time to actually find a woman like in my peak physical condition of years, to find a woman who was attractive, who's a good girl, someone who I could settle down with and build something with. And I have those conversations with those men. And these aren't men who aren't alpha males. These are men who are alpha males. But a lot of alpha males get all the women they want, still can get them, but in the end, it still ends up lonely for them. Yes, you need to be comfortable in your own skin. You need to be comfortable by yourself. That's important. But a vital aspect of growth and of fulfillment in life for most people is going to be having that companionship. And for most men, it's going to be companionship in the form of marriage. Now, the issue is this: the issue is not marriage, the issue is the reasons why, right? The issue is not relationships, the issue is the reasons why. So, what most men do is, even if they are a sexual alpha male, they take time to go out and sow the royal oats. When it comes time to run a relationship, they still are going to have somewhat blue pill ideas about how a relationship should be run, right? They're still going to have certain ideas perpetuated within their mindset that may have a certain aspect of happy wife, happy life to it. Not all guys, but most guys. Maybe somewhat of a transactional sex mindset. Not completely transactional, but thinking that you got it costs to be the boss, thinking that your money is going to be what qualifies you to tell a woman what to do. Is like either you can or you can't. Like either she's feminine submissive with you or not. Either she fuck with you or she don't. Either she like you, or you're something that's convenient. The money's not the determining factor in that. So there's different mindsets that have come about, right? And what I notice is a lot of those guys, if you have a mindset or a program or a set of game that doesn't include having good character and doesn't include being able to sustain a relationship with a real woman who has decent mental health over an extended period of time and growing a family together, then chances are, once you start actually desiring a family, you're either going to push it off, make the standard too high. And what I mean by make the standard too high is expect some type of perfection that you're just not going to get out of a person unless you're on some weird stuff, maybe. Right? And you're going to have these super unrealistic expectations about relationships in general. And when you have those super unrealistic expectations about relationships, and the expectations aren't unrealistic for everybody, but they may be unrealistic for you. And when you have those unrealistic expectations, you set the standard really high. And then when you set that standard really high, you disqualify yourself and every woman who comes across your path from being a potential partner. And then you get really hypocritical in your stances. You might be worrying about like body count or something like that. You might be worrying about just some stupid shit. And you're going to be worrying about things that would cause issues and contradict with most of the women you're going to come across when it comes to relationship material. Part of sexual integration is integrating that Madonna and that whore, knowing that every woman is a complete woman. Most women are a complete woman. Most women aren't all the way a Madonna. Most women aren't all the way a whore. There's going to be something in between, and there's some uncomfortable conversation you may have to have at times, and understand that that's just part of how it is. And the more open-minded and non-judgmental you are, but still vigilant, the better out you'll be. But you got to understand these different aspects of it. See, one thing that men need to take into when they're actually looking at a woman who is relationship material is saying that, yes, this woman is attractive enough to me. I like her demeanor. I like her energy. She could be my wife one day. Maybe. That's not what I'm focused on right now. I'm not worried about that right now with this individual woman because I don't even know her like that. I ain't even thinking about if she's going to be my girlfriend. But I do see some potential there. Either way, she got to be my hoe first. Either way, she got to be my hoe before she my housewife. No exceptions. Whether she just gonna stay a hoe and she never gonna be nothing but that, it is what it is. But if she fucking with you and y'all got good sexual chemistry and compatibility, and you like her energy, she's feminine, submissive with you, and you start having those conversations, and you start talking to each other, and that starts turning into common interests, and those common interests turn into maybe going out to do those things, and going out to going to a concert, or going to museum, or going wherever it is that you have common interest in, and getting to know this individual over time, and going through that process till you get to the point where that's a relationship, like you're playing horse, hold a housewife like you're playing horse. Those are the first two letters. Once you go through that process and you establish your good dick and your guidance, she establishes that desire and respect for you. And as those things are established, you begin to build a healthy relationship. And yes, things may be a little bit toxic at first. Sometimes this is part of the chase. Not that you're chasing a woman, but you put your bid out, you put your program down, and if she's doing good, but you can tell her social programming kind of strong. You might be a little toxic sometimes. You might, break her down before you build her back up. But after she's built back up in your mindset and your understanding, then you tone back some of that hard ass shit. You know what I mean? You get a little bit more soft with her. You are there for her. You show that you care, that you're there for her. You know what I mean? And you start to grow. You still stay hard. You still stay masculine. You still stay a man who's on that square, right? But now you have a partner. You're not prematurely integrated. You're sexually integrated. You make sure that you maintain the sexual relationship. Now that you're going through this process, it's like there's certain things that you learn being a gigolo that you disregard being a gentleman. But the women who you consider as hoes are the same women for other men who you consider good girls. And the girls you consider good girls are the same girls that other men consider hoes. So it's a matter of knowing who that woman is in her fullness, in her wholeness as a person, holistically understanding this woman. Gotta holistically know this woman. So it's like from this place, now you're in a good position. Now you're in a good position, and then you can build that relationship on a foundation of that respect and desire, that good dick and that guidance. You could build a relationship to where she can actually maintain respect and desire for you. Or she's gonna wanna fuck you, you're gonna wanna fuck her, you're gonna like her, she's gonna like you. She's gonna respect you in your leadership and follow your lead and continue to follow your lead. When you do things in a particular way, this helps with that effect. But this is why I don't believe in just playing mind games with women all the time, or being abusive, or doing things in a particular way, because you set yourself up for what I call daddy versus father. If you're too hard with a woman, sometimes it is a matter of a woman being too masculine. Sometimes it is a matter of you being too feminine. If a woman's, checking, not checking, but testing you or trying to leave or whatever it is, and she can go if she wants to leave. But as a man, you gotta be honest with yourself. Sometimes it's on you. Sometimes she was being too feminine, and she's testing you because of that, and that's on you, buddy. That's on you. But other times you're being too fucking hard, right? If you're being too hard with that woman, you're dipping over from the daddy side, which is the guilty pleasure, into the father side, which just feels like rigidity, strictness, and something that is overbearing and, you know, domineering and tyrannical. A good leader is not tyrannical. So it's important to understand these different things. It's like as that woman gets onto your program, the more gentle you can be with her to an extent, right? And the more that woman's on your program, the more you can kind of listen to how she feels and still understand what she means by what she says, but you can listen to it with a little bit more uh, trust. You know what I mean? It's just like a woman can't speak to the king in you if she doesn't know what your idea of what a good king should look like, right? She has to know what that looks like for you to be and believe in that and trust in that and see a vision in order to speak into you when it comes to that. And you want a woman who can do that. That's something that's important. Yes, intrinsic motivation is so important. This is facts. But a partner is a partner, and sometimes it's different things you're going to need each other for. And being able to build together is a vital thing, it's an important thing, it's a powerful thing, especially for building community. A lot of the times, in these red pill spaces, people who talk about family values are usually hypocritical about their stances on different things about the sexuality of women, and they're usually hypocritical about different things. But and they're hypocritical if they're talking about community because they're saying men shouldn't date single mothers, but it's like these children without father figures around are some of the ones who are creating most of the fucked up shit going on in our communities. So it's not even about a woman having kids or not. If you that nigga regardless, and she gonna listen to you. If she listen to you and she respects you, and you're a man of character, a man who's masculine, who's about his shit, that kid will too. But it's just something to understand, because some dudes are just clanging cymbals. Their masculinity isn't deeply rooted. Their masculinity isn't something that resonates from them in a way that's receivable. They're just loud and wrong all the fucking time. So this is just something to understand. You don't want to be caught in the role of gigolo for an extended period of time, or indefinitely. You don't want to be an indefinite gigolo. You want to be a whole man. You want to be sexually integrated because it'll suck to be old as hell and alone and you don't have kids or family or whatever it is who's by your side. The older you get, the more important that will become. And if you just get set in your ways and not wanting that, then and that's something you have a capacity to want, then you're really not too much better than those women who do and say the same thing. So, hey, this is just Brody Dharma. I'm out.